Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafiya wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutakabbala. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Here we are with our session number 21. Alhamdulillah, we have completed 20 sessions. Alhamdulillah. Good job, guys. So let's start with our review, inshallah. So I will start with a couple of things before I take you to a review, okay, inshallah. So last time I was able to tell you that there are two fragments that come between harf nasb and its victim, right? I told you there were two fragments, and you can see on my screen those two fragments were, who's going to type it out as well? Al-jar wal majroor, number one, and number two is your zarf idafa. Right? So your zarf can come between your harf nasb and its victim. So keep that in mind. You can have a long distance relationship in case of harf nasb and its victim, right? When we were learning idafa or when we were learning al-jar wal majroor, we noticed that those two words have to be next to one another, right? There were, less than 1% exceptions, and we learned about them in case of al-jar wal majroor. However, in idafa, there was no example that I have seen personally or I have shared with you where you could see any distance between two isms that create an idafa fragment, okay? But in case of al-mawsoof was sifa, what did I tell you? Do the two words that have matching properties have to be right next to one another, or they can tolerate some distance, or other words can come in between? What do you think? They can tolerate distance, yes, right? So they can tolerate distance. They do not have to be right next to each other. And if I show you my slide from that session, I can show you how we notice that kitabun musaddiqun, right? Book that confirms truth, right? Book that confirms truth. And you can see there is another, there are three words in between those two words with matching properties. You all can appreciate that. Everyone is with me so far, I hope. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So that was that, and then I was showing I gave you examples for of al-jar wal majroor that was coming between harf nasab and its victim. I did not give you any examples for zarf idafa when I was teaching you during my last session. However, when I sent slides, in those slides, you must have seen examples here, right? Can you see these two examples where ma'a? Do you remember what was ma'a? Who can tell me what is ma'a? Zarf. It is a zarf, right? With. It means with. Only Faiza remember? What about rest of the sisters? Right? So I need more answers. It's going to help you remember that your words like bada, fawqa, tahta, amama, khalfa, inda, milladun, ladai, those words belong to special category of asma that denote. What do they denote? They denote, like fawqa means above. So what do you think? Is it what kind of a word it is in Arabic? It's a noun of time and place. It's a noun of time and place, which is called zarf, right? noun of time and place is called a zarf, right? So here you see what is the ism of in anna? What do you think? What is an ism of anna in this part of the verse? Alihatan, alihatan, right? Everyone agrees? Type 1 if you do. Pay attention to each and every word in every verse. Okay, you will get a chance to do lots and lots of practice, inshallah. But you have to be very careful when you are doing each and every when you are in class and when you are doing practice on your own. Okay, when you are submitting your homework, make sure if you have submitted your homework already, you go back to answer key and see what mistakes have you made. Okay, so that you learn from each session, you learn something new. Okay, inshallah. Okay, so ma'allahi is zarf idafa here, and alihatan was the ism of anna. Ukhra and alihatan. What do you think can be the relationship between these two? It is ism of anna. It is alihatan is ism of anna. So now, everyone with me so far? We have determined that ism of anna is alihatan. You all know this. Now tell me, how can you connect these two words together? Is there any way you can connect? Okay, now tell me what's the gender of both these words. Let's start with gender today. Both are feminine. What helps you identify what category of feminine? If you look at the word, you don't know anything about the word. Sign feminine, very well done. Everyone, alihatan is, you can see, there's ta marbuta. By structure, this word has ta marbuta, and you can tell, this ta marbuta is a feminine word. But here, interestingly, this ta marbuta is this ta marbuta, ta marbuta has lots of other functions as well. Okay, sometimes ta marbuta denotes, for what we have learned so far, it is there to show you that your word is feminine. Okay, but sometimes you will see there are many plurals in Arabic language that end with ta marbuta, and they don't have to be feminine plurals. Okay, they can be masculine, they can be plural for a masculine word, but they will end with ta marbuta. Sometimes you will see, for exaggeration, you will see this ta marbuta to give to hyperbolize quality or description of an entity. Sometimes in Arabic, ta marbuta is used. Okay, is it clear or no? You will see ta marbuta for some broken plurals. In some broken plurals, you will see ta marbuta, and you will see ta marbuta when you have to add, when you have to hyperbolize a description of an ism. Okay, so keep that in mind. For example, allama, alamatun, allama. For those from Pakistan, we have a poet. We have a national poet, and his name starts with Allama Iqbal. So if you write it the way it has to be written, you will end the word Allama with ta marbuta, right? With ta marbuta, you will add ta marbuta. But Allama Iqbal is not a female, he is a man, right? So, but Allama means person with lots and lots of ilm. Make sense or no? Okay, so ta marbuta can be used otherwise as well. Its only function is not to denote feminine word, but here coming back to the word, so this word is plural for ilah. It's a plural word for ilah. Okay, but structurally you can see it is ending with ta marbuta. And al-ukhra is feminine because it has alif maksura. I hope and I expect each and every one of you to know by now that alif maksura ending is an indication for a feminine word. And what is another prerequisite for this rule to work? For alif maksura, do we have to have another I think 3 haruf? Yes, 3 letters have to be before this alif maksura or alif mamduda for your word to be feminine. Okay, keep that in mind, inshallah. And this should be in addition to, Sister Anas has very rightly written that this alif maksura cannot be the root letter. It cannot be derived from the root letter. It has to be after the 3 root letters of a word, because majority of asma that we are going to deal with in our course are going to be, their root letters will be 3. Okay, for the most part, you will in the beginning you will learn the words that have 3 root letters. Okay, inshallah, when you will be learning rubai and stuff like that, I will teach you full root lettered word, but for the most part you will come across words that have 3 root letters. Okay, so these two, coming back to this thing, can we say if it is gods and gods, in Arabic, when we are talking about Quran, and when we are seeing Arabs, when think about Arab history, they had different gods who, they were worshipping idols. They were, they were doing all different kind of things. If you remember, the Kaaba was all filled with different idols. So if we think that this word is referring to those gods, so can they be treated as single feminine, do you think? Can the word alihatan be treated as single feminine? Right? And if this word is if I'm telling you this word is a plural, what kind of a plural? Yes, it's a non-human broken plural, which can be treated as single feminine, because your word ukhra is singular and it is feminine. Okay, feminine because it is ending the way it is ending. This alif maksura is telling you, and this holds true when you're, because it's plural, otherwise is different. Okay, everyone with me so far? I hope it's not too hard. Sister Ranas, Aisha, very well done, very well done. Now come to this part. Okay, inna ma'al usri yusra. Everyone, I think, is familiar with this verse from Quran, because it's very talked about verse from Quran. Your non-human plural can be treated as single feminine. That was what I said, because ukhra is singular. It has different plurals for itself. Ukhrayat is one of them, and it has a broken plural for itself as well. So, but because your word was non-human broken plural, because here this alihatan is referring to gods, many gods. Those, they were worshipping, idols. So it's referring to idols. So that is why, because it's non-human broken plural, it can be treated as singular feminine word. It can be described by singular feminine word, which is ukhra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. So where is ism of inna? Ism of inna is yusra. Yusra. Okay, everyone, please. Yusra is the ism of inna. And ma'al usri, what is it making? What is this combination here? It's an idafa, right? And ma'a is your special mudaf, right? Zarf idafa. It's under the category of zarf idafa. With every difficulty. Indeed, ease is with every difficulty. You usually, your translation is, not like this, but just think about it at this point like this. Indeed, ease is with every difficulty. Okay, everyone with me? Usr means difficulty, yusr means ease. Okay, or indeed with every difficulty is ease. We usually see it like that in translation, but keep in mind, you need to learn things in Arabic now, okay? Because you are being taught Arabic grammar. You are a grammar student, so do things like that. In the end, your translation is going to win, okay? Yes, inna is one of the huruf nasiba. So yusra is therefore nasban status because of inna. Ma'al usri, we have learned that your word that denotes time and place. What is the default status for such word? People who have learned, I'm not sure if you have taken the class. What is the status of a zarf? What should be the status of a zarf? 3-step approach. I am sitting under a tree. It's a detail. It's a detail. So details are always nasbin status, right? Because it's a detail. That is why ma'a is nasbin status, right? It is a detail. So keep that in mind. If your word denotes any detail which is related to time or place or anything, any detail is usually nasbin status, unless it is preceded by what? Then it can be something else. You have learned that as well, that sometimes your zarf can have haruf jar before them, like min before them. Sometimes they can have haruf jar before them, and those haruf jar can make them have a kasra. Okay, like for example, min tahti, min ba'di, min fawqi. But by default, your word should have been tahta, ba'da, fawqa. But it it took that thing, it took that kasra because of min before it. And when it does not have a mudaf ilayhi, then it is very lonely. So mim ba'd, it does not have a mudaf ilayhi, what will happen to ba'd? It will become, will it remain as mim ba'di? It will be mim ba'du. It's, don't write rough. It is going to be jaran status, but it will look like ba'du. It will look like that it has dhamma, it will take dhamma, but originally the word is jaran status, right? It takes dhamma, but is jaran status. There's a difference between having something and, you know, um, or an actual status of a word. For example, when we go back on status, I told you, like when one is being called, what should be the status of the one who is being called? What should be, in ideal world, what should be the status of a word that is being called? If I call, I'm calling someone, that person is, you know, I'm doing something to him. He's a receiver of an action. I am calling him, he's not doing anything. So yes, he's munada. So what should be the status of munada in an ideal world? As Sister Zohra has rightly pointed out, it should be nasbin status. It should be nasbin status. But what happens? It usually takes dhamma when it is a singular word. For example, ya Nuhu, ya Lutu. Remember? We did it. Ya Yusufu. Very well done, right? Ya Maryamu. Everyone, please keep that in mind. These are basic concepts. If you engrave these basic concepts and you get them in your brain, rest of grammar is piece of cake. Because you need to know why specific haraka is there. Does it belong there? That is why we do things, you know, in a very stepwise fashion, so that you know what should be in actuality the status of the word. And, you know, if there is something otherwise, I try to bring it to your attention so you know how to figure out why is it being, you know, not being treated the way it should be treated. And this is not This is just, some Arabs have done so. They have done, they usually call someone when it is one word like that, like ya Muhammadu, ya Shuaibu, ya Salihu, and these ya Adamu. These examples are in Quran. But in actuality, we know that I am doing an action. The person is just a receiver of an action and has to be nasb, because it's the receiver of an action. It's not doing anything, right? So reasons for nasb status: detail is nasb. La of negation makes its ism nasb. Munada, when it is a singular word in terms of, it's a name, or if it is just one word, like if I have to say ya Muslimu, I will just say ya Muslimu, okay? And if it is the only word there, or ya Lutu, if it's a name, only thing there, I will just put a dhamma on there, okay? The other reason for a word to be nasb in status, there are several reasons. Harf nasb is, you already figured it out. The harf nasb can make it some nasb. Then you will see if a word is a follower, and it is in your slides as well, if it's a follower. For example, we did last week, in our last session, not last week, why is kabiran nasb in status? What do you think? Why is kabiran nasb in status? Who's going to tell me? Ajran kabiran. Because it is al-mawsuf was sifa. It's a sifa for ajran, right? It's a sifa for ajran. That is why kabiran is nasb in status, and it falls under the category of follower. Similarly, ajran hasanan. Ajran is nasb because of anna, but hasanan is nasb because it is describing ajran. Good reward, beautiful reward, right? They have all four properties matching, and they are making a fragment that we just learned not too long ago. Al-mawsuf was sifa. Al-mawsuf was sifa. Everyone with me so far? Okay. So before I go to my another slide that I have added, because there was a question, however, we did attempt that question, but still we will go back to, I will let you know where to look for. So I'm going to go back before I start teaching you whatever it was supposed to be taught today, okay, inshallah. So when you look at haruf-e nasiba, so what are haruf-e nasiba? Who has memorized them? How many of them are there? There are 6 of them. Inna, anna, ka'anna, layta. Very well done, Aisha. Layta, la'alla, lakinna. Very well done. So 6 of them. 3, first 3, inna, anna, ka'anna, layta, la'alla, lakinna. Kindly please recite them. Just as I'm doing it in class, keep yourself mute and keep on revising them so that you know what are those haruf-e nasiba. And why do we call them haruf-e nasiba? Because of what are they called haruf-e nasiba? They make their ism nasb. They make their ism nasb. They give nasb status to their ism, right? They make their ism nasb. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Do harf nasb and its ism have to be right next to each other? What's your answer? No. What can come between harf nasb and its ism? What are the 2 fragments? Al-jar wal-majroor and zarf idafa. Very well done. Al-jar wal-majroor and zarf idafa. And we will keep on revising these concepts. So do not get overwhelmed by lot of information. I know it's a lot, but you are such smart students. So there was a reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directed you to learn Quran and language of Quran. So you have taken it upon yourself. It's a, when you start something, you struggle till you reach the end line, okay, the finish line. You have to now reach the finish line. So there was a question asked, and we already actually did do it in class in our previous sessions, but I have added it in your slides as well, just so that everyone is with us and there is no confusion. Your mawsoof can be an idafa fragment described by a singular ism. Can you see here? Ibadina. Ibadina. What do you see here? What do you see? Ibadina means our slaves. First word, light, no alif lam. Light, no alif lam, followed by a pronoun. When a word is an ism, followed by a pronoun with an attached pronoun, when a word is an ism that has an attached pronoun, the relationship, as Sister Rukhsana has typed, is always and always idafa. Whenever pronoun attaches itself to an ism, it always creates an idafa fragment. Okay, what will be the status of na here? What do you think? Jar. Very well done. Your first word was light, no al, followed by jar, which is, it cannot show its status, but we'll take it as jar because we have learned our pronouns are based on flexibility. Your pronouns are flexible, fully flexible, non-flexible, partly flexible. Very well done. They are non-flexible. So nobody can forget that. Okay, inshallah. So remember, your pronouns are non-flexible. Now think about ibad. Ibad means slaves. What kind of a plural it is? Just a side question. Ibad, what kind of a plural it is? What do you think? Is it a sound plural, broken plural, ism jama, ism jins jam'i, ism jins ifradi? What kind of a plural word it is? It's a broken plural. Abd is the singular, right? Abd is a singular, and we have here word ibad, our slaves. The word means our slave. Na is an attached version of nahnu. Now look at this word al-mu'minina. Give me 4 properties of this word. Number is plural, gender, masculine, type. It is plural, masculine, proper. What is the status? What about the status? Yes, it is. It can be nasb or jar, but since we think this word is describing our ibad, so what should be the status here? Jar, right? It is only and only jar in status, right? Ayatina al-kubra, we already did it in detail in our class. Ayatina, what kind of a plural it is? Ayatin was the original form. Yes, it's matching. It's a sound plural. It's a sound feminine plural. Very well done. And na, what is the relationship here? Is it is it one word, or is an idafa, right? The word ayatina means our signs. It's an idafa. And if you look at word al-kubra, what are the 4 properties for this word? What is the number? It's singular. What is the type? The type is proper because of al. Presence of al makes it proper. It's feminine. It is singular. It is proper. Now, when it comes to status, ayat could be, because I don't know the context, so ayat could be nasb or jar. So we can say that al-kubra can be nasb or jar as well, right? Ayatu, ayati, ayati, right? Similarly, we can say, because it's not showing it, it's in any dhamma kasra, so we can say that this is going to be my word that can be nasb or jar. And yes, we have learned that our non-human plurals, our non-human plurals, our non-human plurals can be treated as single feminine, right? Singular feminine. They can be treated as single feminine. And I taught you as well that they can be treated as such as well. Sometimes you will see ayatun bayyinatun. So what, in that case, you will see all four properties are really, really matching. But in Quran, you will see it is allowed to treat non-human plurals as single feminine. Okay. In the case of lillahi, you saw that Rabbil Alameen was coming up as description for Lafzul Jalala. Okay. So now, real quick, I would want you to find fragments from the verse of Surah Al-Maryam, verse number 73. So who is going to tell me, do you see any fragment here? Alayhim. Very well done. It is your first fragment that you can spot, alayhim. Okay. I'm going to move. Any other? Ayatuna. Ayatuna. Very well done. And what fragment is this? Alayhim. What about alayhim? What fragment was it? It is just true. It is al-jar wal-majroor. What about ayatuna? It is idafa. Now, do you think bayyinat can be connected with ayat by any chance? Look carefully. So now, ayatu. What is the status of ayatu? Rough. I purposely brought this verse. I am, whatever you see here is not here for no reason. So whenever I bring any verse from Quran, there's a reason for that to be on my review. Okay, so be careful, inshallah. So see, bayyinatin. What do you know about status of bayyinatin? Surah numbers, surah is Surah Maryam. Bayyinatin can be nas for jar, right? Bayyinatun, bayyinatin, bayyinatin, right? It can be nasb or jar. But here ayat was with dhamma, so there is no way I can connect them together, right? Ayat was raf and status, so these two words cannot match. They are not matching. What about the type? What do you think about type of ayatuna? Ayatuna. What is the type of ayatu? Common? Ayatuna. Type of mudaf is determined by its mudaf ilayhi. And all pronouns we have learned are proper. So ayatu is proper, right? It is proper. What about bayyinatin? Yes, within idafa it is proper, and bayyinatin is common. So this is not matching in properties. So yes, the number is same, gender is same, but number and gender does not matter. The type and status have to match. Okay, it's not matching, right? So now let's move. Qala is your fail. Allazina, we are going to skip it. Anything else? Who's going to tell me in this verse? Lillazina, very well done. Very well done, Alina. Okay, now tell me what fragment? Al-jar wal majroor. Very well done, Faiza. Azra. Al-jar wal majroor. Sabra. Very well done, Aisha. So proud of you all. Now, do you see any other fragment? Manahil, Maryam, wake up. No, not for all fragments. No, not at all. Not at all. We have, different fragments have different components. It depends, in case of al-mawsuf was sifa, we will focus on matching properties. And there is another fragment that will be taught next week There you will worry about number, all 4 properties, but for others you don't have to match all properties. Okay, so because there may be one harf and the other word is an ism, so you're not learning the properties of harf, right? You're learning properties of an ism. So al jar wal majroor, in case of min, haisu, you don't see anything, or min al kitabi, you don't match properties of min and kitabi, right? You don't need to, because that is an harf and an ism. So coming back to our verse, ayyul fariqaini, what is the number of al fariqaini? We have done it recently as well. It's a dual. Very well done, because you have, what's the sign of your dual here in this word? Give me a complete answer. Complete answer. Yeah, no, yeah. Anyone can teach you. Aini. Yes, we have done that. But what have you learned from this course so far? Ya preceded by a letter carrying fatha. That was the complete definition. Ya preceded by a letter carrying fatha. Right? Ya preceded by a letter. There's a letter before ya that has to carry fatha for a word to be dual. Okay, now I think that's pretty much all fragments in this verse. Innahum kanu qawman fasikin. So what about this one now? Al nasb, harf nasb wa ismuha. Harf nasb, inna wa ismuha. So what will be the status of hum here? Nasb. Very well done. Very well done. Any other fragment in this verse before we, because I am running, See, is there any other fragment? Common fasikina. Give me 4 properties of calm. Very well done, Sister Zohra. Very well done. Alina, very well done. Common fasikina. Common, give me 4 properties. Calm. Is it singular? It's a collective noun. Sister Anaz is right. It's a collective noun, ism jama, right? Collective noun, ism jama. So it is nasb status. It's common. Gender-wise is masculine. Fasikina. Fasikina. So it can be, the word can be ina, can be ya preceded by kasra, is used for plural, right? It's a plural word. It is common. There is no al, there is no reason for a word to be proper, because by default your word is common. And then the number is, we have figured out, status is nasb or jar, but here my word is nasb. So what is the status of fasikina? It is nasb status. There should be no confusion now. Okay, since we have learned a fragment al-mawsuf was sifa, so calm, that a corrupt nation is, does it sound right? So this should be kept in mind, that if your word is collective noun, it looks masculine, it can be described by a masculine plural word. Okay, in this last I think that should be the no, there is one more. So tell me about this one. Inna Allah is another fragment. Yes, Inna Allah is what fragment? Nasab, nasb mansub, harf nasab wa ismuha. Very well done. What about Rabbi? What do you think about Rabbi? Idafa. Everyone agrees. Rab with ya. Rab with ya. That, so what will be the translation? So that I know you understand what's happening in the word. Yes, Rab of mine. Rab of mine. My Rab. Ya stands for ana. Ya is an attached version of ana. That is why I asked you. My Rab, right? Ya is for my. If it was Rabbika, Rabbaka, if it was Rabbuka, if it was Rabbuka, then it would have been, your Rab. But it is Rabbi. Ya is for me. Okay. Now, what do you think about Rabbukum? It's an idafa, right? In rest, you don't need to worry. Go to this one. Okay. Inni, what is the name of the fragment? Harf of nasb wa ismuha, right? What will be the status of ya here? If I give you status of ya, if you have to give me status of ya, it's nasb in status because inna has affected it. What do you think about the rest? What do you think? Any fragment that you can spot? Rasulu Rabbi. Rasulu Rabbi. What do you think about these two? There is an idafa. There are two idafas, very well done. Rasulu was light, no alif lam. Rabbi was jar. Light, no alif lam, followed by jar makes an idafa. Again, Rabbi was light, no alif lam, followed by a word that is jar, right? It can be nasb or jar, but we will jar works for us here. There is no reason for it to be nasb in status. So there are two idafas here. Everyone with me so far? Right? Rasulu Rabbi, first idafa. Rabbil Alamina, second idafa. Status of ya, which is used for ana, is nasb in status. Do not forget that. Okay, this will keep on coming and you should be very well versed with that. Now, few extra things that I would like you to know about your harf nasab. Where is it? I think I have it here. No, it's not there. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so let me I have to take you to another one. Sorry, and it will be a couple of minutes until slides. Additional. Okay, sign in. Okay, Google Slides. No, this is additional. Okay, so here I will attach it to your notes and on your YouTube, inshallah. I will add it on. We already did all these examples, but few facts I wanted you to know. This ana is very commonly used in Quran. So sometimes you see when we were learning attached version of ana, what were two forms ana attaches itself with? What are the two forms of ana that you have learned? It was the only ni or yi, right? Ni and yi. Everyone remembers that, right? Everyone? Okay. Now, you had not, when you were seeing inni in this word, do you see additional noon? Because I just told you the status is nasb and the nasb version is ni, right? Noon for nasb and ni is the attached form of ana in nasb status, right? You don't see it. Sometimes for brevity, you will see that there is no noon attached. Okay, there is no noon there, and you see it here. But in some cases in Quran, you will see innani, the form that you would expect, how you based on what you have learned, right? You have learned when attached pronoun ana is nasb in nasb status, it takes a form of ni. It has an additional noon attached to it, right? In this word, you see additional noon. But here, and in most of the Quran, you will see it as inni, and it is allowed. Okay. However, scholars say when the word is increased by a letter or two or many letters, when a word is bigger in size, it is more in meaning in some way. Okay, will you remember this? And I will teach you how it changes the meaning. But right now, you need to know, in case of inna, anna, ka anna, lakinna, you will see noon, and you may not see noon of ya, ana mutakallim. Okay, the first person singulars noon may not be seen. For example, you will have annani, and then you can also have anni. Okay, you can have ka annani, or you can have ka anni. Both are allowed. Okay, all with noon shadda. When ni is attached, it may retain its noon or it may lose it. Okay, keep that in mind. It is permissible to drop its noon for it. Okay. Similarly, when you have na, which is, what is na? What is na used for? Be, right? It's an attached version of be. Nahnu, attached version of nahnu. So sometimes what will happen is, in Quran you see inna, but if you combine those two words, what should be the spelling? Ideally, the spelling should be innana, right? Innana. This is the right spelling of the word, but you see it mostly in Quran as inna. Have you all noticed that? For those who have alhamdulillah been familiar with Quran, how it works, and with the words of Quran, they must have noticed this. So there is a reason, according to scholars, why sometimes it is just inna and sometimes it is innana. They have written a lot about it, but for now you just know that both forms are allowed. Okay, and go look into the details of word. You should be able to know the fine details of the word. It sometimes, for brevity, it is okay to drop noon, but inshallah we will learn how it impacts understanding, but that's for another day. In case of when you have later, you have to have noon. It is not allowed to drop noon of ni. Okay, it will always and always have its noon. It will never, you will never see in Quran laiti. You will never see that. Everyone with me so far? And inshallah, you will do so much practice on Quran that these words will not be strangers to you, inshallah. With lots and lots of practice that inshallah we are planning to do in our upcoming sessions, these words will be your friends, inshallah. You will know that, in Quran I can see la Allah like this and lakinna like this, and it can sometimes have its noon there of ana mutakallim, and sometimes it may drop. It's permissible. It is permissible. So in case of la Allah, whenever ana pronoun is attached, which is in the form of ya is coming from ana, perhaps I, this word means perhaps I, so that I, hopefully I. If you go back to your slides, you have these meanings of la Allah. So when this ana gets attached to it, it never ever will have noon. It will never keep its noon. It always drops its noon. Okay, everyone with me so far? Point to remember is pay attention to details. Okay, your nas form of ana was ni. So this word, when you know that la Allah is harf nasb, the question that should come to your mind is, where is my noon? When you have taught me that the nasb form of ana is ni, so where is the noon? So here is your answer. It's never used. It's never used with la Allah. With laita, it's always there. With inna, anna, ka anna, lakinna, both ways, noon can be written or it can be omitted. Both forms are possible. Everyone with me so far? I just see few yeses and ones. So you can ask Sister Anas, are you with me? I don't want you to be lost. It's confusing, yes. So the thing to remember is, first of all, that was the only pronoun, that was the only attached pronoun that had two forms. Number one, you have to know, because the attached version for hua is hu, he. Attached version for huma is huma, hima. The word itself does not change. Hum is hum, him. Hiya is ha. And that's the only way. There are no changes on all the rest of the words if you look at that. Na is always, the attached version of na is always na. Okay? But in case of ana, you saw two forms. Ni was the nas version and ya alone was the jar version. But in some cases, you will see when harf nasb is attached to this ni will not retain its noon, and it will just attach itself as ya. Okay, only ya will attach itself, and ni, it will drop its ya, just for ease of pronunciation, just to keep things simple. However, there are scholars who have written a lot about why this version and why this version, because nothing in Quran is without a reason. Okay, so inshallah, as long as you know what your huruf nasiba are, and they can attach themselves to pronouns, they can attach themselves to ism, this is something additional. Okay, this is something additional. Even if you do not know it by heart, it's okay. With passage of time and with more practice, you will learn it. Okay. So now, coming back to what was on agenda today, I was supposed to teach you this fragment, which is called Murakkabe Atf. It's a very important fragment. Okay. So though I have very little time, but I will try to attempt it and see how much we can learn. Do you think we should go ahead with this, or you think we should do practice? I'm not sure if Sister Faiza has shared a schedule with you. You were supposed to start it today and and actually finish it as well. Okay. So I have seen 2 yeses. What about Sister Aisha? Oh, she did. Okay. Alhamdulillah. So, okay. So this is your Murakkab Atf. Okay. Murakkab is an Atf fragment. In a simple words, it's Atf fragment. Okay. For you. This fragment is made up of 2 isms, or, because we are learning ism, so we'll focus on ism part. Okay. It has connectors, can connect sentences, they can connect fragments, they can connect many things, but right now focus on how they connect to isms. Okay. The first part of the fragment is called Matuf alayhi. What is the first part called? Matuf ilayhi. Okay. The second part is called Matuf. And why these words are used? Atf means connector. Do you know and in English? And, the word and, right? Just think of it as and. Atf, think of it as and. Okay. First part is Matuf alayhi. The ism that comes first is called Matuf alayhi. The second part is called Matuf. And what connects them is called Harf Atf. Yes, your waw, your aw are examples of Harufe Atf. There are many, but for now, we are just going to focus on wa and aw, as Sister Alkans has mentioned. Okay. Are you with me so far? Type 1. Okay. So what happens here? First word is called Matuf alayhi. Your older sister is usually chubbier, older, with more wrinkles, right? And don't tell that to your sisters, please. But just for your information, since I want you to learn this. So she is bigger in size. So this word, the first word, is bigger in size. Okay. Don't worry. Alina, don't worry about that. Okay. So now, Matuf alayhi, since it's a first child, it's it has gotten old, more intellect, smarter, bigger, okay, in terms of knowledge. Think of it like that, okay? So alayhi is going to be for the matuf, alayhi is going to be used for the first word of this fragment. The second word is your connector, which is called harf atf. Harf atf. What is it called? Harf atf. And this and this and this connector connects this matuf alayhi to its matuf, okay, to its matuf. And this, in this case, you can see hudan is matuf alayhi, waw is harf atf, and noor is what? Matuf. Matuf. Ain, Fa are the root letters. Just you are going to work with them. Okay. Matuf, alayhi, bigger, smarter, more intelligent, more wrinkles, more mature, whatever way you want to learn it. Okay. Just know that it's going to be a bigger word is going to be used for the first one. Okay. And the second one is going to be smaller, less in weight, very appropriately sized. So it's matuf, just, so that, the younger sisters in this group are happy. Okay. Okay. Now, so what happens is, you need to know that your connector particle transfers the status of the word. Okay. If you have two words that are following one another, they are going to be following each other in status. There are a lot more, but we are going to just learn wow and au for now. Okay. There are, I think, 7, 8 that you generally need to know, but I'm just going to focus on wow and au because it's going to be too much. Okay. For now, I think wow and au should be fine. Okay. So now, whatever will be the status of matuf alayhi, matuf will follow it. Okay. So now see here. فَأَتْبَعَهُمْ فِرْعَوْنُ وَجُنُودُهُ. Do you see any at fragment here? You see? Do you see one or two? Hamza, how many? There are two, right? There are two. Very well done. So if you see here, Fir'aunu, what's the status of Fir'aun? It's rough in status. It's a bigger sister and it's going to be called Matuf alayhi. What is this waw called? Harf atf. And what's going to be Junood? Matuf. Okay, Matuf. And look at the status of Junood. What's the status of Junood? A rough. Is it one word or there is something happening in this word? This junuduhu, if you look at it, what do you see here? It's an idafa. It's an idafa. Okay, and the status of idafa, to look for the status of idafa, where do you look at? Do you look at mudaf or mudaf ilayhi? Mudaf. You look at mudaf. You only look at mudaf to determine the status, right? Because mudaf ilayhi is always jar. First word, mudaf. Mudaf determines the status. Remember that. Mudaf determines the status of your idafa. Mudaf ilayhi determines the type of idafa. Okay? So it's going to be proper because who is attached. So now, and that does not matter in at fragment. You are just going to see that waw transferred the status. If I asked you why is junood rough in status, your answer will be because of connector particle waw. Connector particle waw. Okay. So stay in at fragment for now. Fir'aunu wa junuduhu is creating an at fragment. You have to have matuf alayhi, that is Fir'aun. You have to have harf atf, that was waw, and junuduhu follows it in its status. It is one of the example, another example of follower. Remember, we did Mausuf was Sifa, how the words followed each other. Similarly, in case of at fragment, you will notice the words follow each other in status. Can you see it here? Can you appreciate it here in this example? Here, Baghyan wa Adwan. What do you think? What will I call Baghyan? If I think this is an Murakkabe Atf or Atf fragment, it is going to be Ma'tuf alayhi. Very well done. It is Ma'tuf alayhi. What will I call Waw? Atf, harf atf. And Adwan is going to be my Ma'tuf. Right? Ma'tuf. Ma'tuf alayhi, older, more smart, intelligent. Waw is here. And Waw actually made this Adwan nasb. It transferred the status from Baghiyan to Adwan. Okay? Everyone with me so far? Let me do one example. Oh no, I'm sorry. I ran out of time. We'll continue with our at fragment next time, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Kindly, if you have any questions, put them in group and I will address them, inshallah.